industrial strong, about 50.
Today I'm in a BMW X2, and it's the S Drive, meaning it is front wheel drive. So the question I'm going to answer for you today is this car worthwhile? Is it a nice car? Is it worth buying this specific X2 BMW? We'll find out. The first thing you're going to notice about the X2, just like the Mercedes GLA, is the awkward seating position and the very small front sunscreen. As you can see here, it's kind of squat. It's almost like sitting in a Camaro, but you're sitting up a little bit higher, which is what's kind of awkward, I think, about crossovers. But anyways, the suspension rides very nicely. These are very small wheels. I think they're only 17-inch rims. It's quiet in here. It's cool. It's a nice tan Dakota leather. So it's a very nice place to be. It's quiet, and I'm impressed with the luxury feel considering that this is an entry-level BMW. When I initially drove a Mercedes GLA, I rented it one time. This is a loaner car because my M2's in service because the horn stopped working. I was very disappointed with the GLA. If you want to check that video out, it's right up here. This is a big improvement. Now, I didn't drive the original X2. This is a 2020, so it has been revamped in some ways. But it's very nice. It's a good place to be in. The 0 to 60 time is 6.3 seconds, so it's actually pretty quick. And I've even noticed the shifts are pretty peppy in how they pop them off. So I'm happy with that. Also, the range, the gas tank when I got it from the dealership had a 500-mile range, so I was pretty impressed with that as well. iDrive system looks good, looks the same as my M2. Nothing really new there. This shifter, obviously I have a manual transmission, so this is new to me. Anytime you want to put it into gear, you actually have to engage this button first, otherwise it doesn't work. It has sport mode, it has eco mode, and then eco pro. When you put it in eco pro, this thing is about as fast as if you were in a wheelchair and pushing. That's about how fast it is. But again, it's just to save fuel if you're cruising along. Bikini coffee! Come get your coffee and look at some titties! More on the interior, you know, this is a luxury car. I know you're like, well, yeah, you're in a BMW, but that's not always the case when you're driving an entry-level luxury car. The Audi A3, the Mercedes CLA, Mercedes A-Class, this BMW X2. The seats in this thing, I mean, on my M2, it has the button where you can adjust the bolstering on the car. I will say this X2 probably has more comfortable seats than the M2, and the bolstering adjusts, and there's lumbar support and mid-back support. It's really impressive, and I mean, for the price of this thing, I'm not let down by it. Now, I did just floor it onto the exit ramp. I went like a rolling 5 mile an hour to 80 miles an hour, and there is torque steer, which is weird. It's weird that these German cars now have front-wheel drive, but that's all to get into this entry-level market and take up some of the market share. However, you can get this in all-wheel drive, and that would solve that issue. I will also say I was cruising like 80, 85, and it's crazy in German cars just how they feel when you're cruising at a higher speed. You're like, yeah, this feels right. Really, you're speeding, but it's amazing. It feels very tied down and solid and quiet on the interstate. As I'm driving around here, playing around with the different drive modes, sport mode is how this car should be at all times. I understand efficiency, and some people just don't care. But when I drive my Focus ST, there's no drive modes in that thing. I mean, you can hit a button, it reduces traction control and gives you a little more slip. But this thing in sport mode drives how you would expect a BMW to drive. It has snappy shifts, it lets the RPMs run out a little bit more. It just gives you more of that luxury car experience. It's interesting, no matter what luxury car you drive, no matter what the horsepower says, this says I think 228 horsepower, it feels like a lot more though because of how it's geared. So I'm in sport mode right now. The way the acceleration is and the way that the shifts happen, and you see the RPMs just boom, boom, almost like a dual clutch. Maybe it has a dual clutch, I don't actually know. It just gives you that much better experience and not that watered down experience. And that's what I've come to appreciate with older cars that don't have an M button or any drive modes. They're in their best mode right out of the box from the factory. This is how the engineers wanted them to be. Yes, it is nice to have modes that water the car down to make them more efficient, but a lot of times, here I'll show you the shifts, how quick it is here. See how quick how nice that is? Just nice and smooth. The RPMs, bam. It just looks expensive. It looks like they took the time to smooth that out, and yeah, again, this car is doing well in my daily test here. And so far, I mean, I recommend it if you want to get in a luxury car and your budget just gets you into that entry level. I still think that getting this new, I mean, you're going to take a depreciation hit on it, but if you don't trade cars often and this is going to be a daily driver you're going to beat on and use it for 10 years, I think you're safe to do that. Wanted to give a quick look at the exterior of this X2. It's in silver. It's a pretty simple car, and again, it starts at $36,000. So just kind of a little walk around of it. To get into the trunk here, pick up on that. There you go. Back seat. Okay. Lock. Here's the back seat. Front seat is adjusted to how it's comfortable for me. I'm 6 feet tall. Here's the back seat. So, good. I'd say it's good. I mean, it has a lot of storage back there. Seat comfort's good, but you can see things like this, just hard plastic. The center console is kind of, I'd say it's weak, but it's kind of unique in that it's more of an open air design. You can fold that up, and then you have just an open port there, and then just the clean look at the front of the car. But also has this panoramic roof system, which I didn't use. But yeah, overall nice car. I think you look at something that, you know, $36,000, what that could get you in a Honda is a lot more car, but it's not the luxury experience, doesn't drive quite as well. Feels a little more tinny as compared to this. Feels a lot more German and solid and sophisticated while driving on the road. So yeah, it's just up to you and what you value in driving your car. I think that I enjoyed driving it. I think it's a solid car. I don't see anything wrong with it. But it's also nothing that exciting. I think, you know, for 36 grand, there's Alfa Romeo Stelvios that you can get with all the incentives right now for the low 30s for the rear-wheel drive models. I'd rather have rear-wheel drive than front-wheel drive if it were up to me. But yeah, that's a look at the S Drive 28i X2. There's also an X1 when I was actually just looking on the website. Kind of an interesting badge placement there, but I like it. So yeah, pretty good product from BMW. Hope this review helps you, just kind of, you know, unbiased. I was just given this car as a loaner, and I'll be turning it in hopefully soon when I get my car back. They found a faulty rear right turn signal on my M2. Probably because from the factory they don't test their turn signals as much because BMW owners don't use them. But I'm just trying to do my part one turn signal at a time to change the perception, change the public perception of BMW owners. But anyways, so they're changing that, and then they had to order in a horn. But yeah, here's a closer up look of the wheels, radiator up front. So anyways, enjoy the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.